Welcome to the Health Headliner podcast by Tudu Digital. Our content is informational only and not medical advice. Please consult your provider. Now, let's dive into today's headlines.
Have you ever felt that real midlife squeeze? You know the feeling.
Oh, yeah.
Like you're being pulled in, I don't know, a dozen different directions, trying to balance career stuff, kids, maybe starting to look after aging parents.
It's a lot. Definitely.
It really is. And, underneath it all, sometimes there's this quiet sort of longing for just feeling a bit better mentally, a way to get through the day without feeling totally swamped. So what if, and this is the big question, what if the secret to actually thriving, not just, getting by, wasn't about trying to dodge the hard stuff?
Right. We're wishing it away.
Exactly. What if it was about embracing all of it, the good, the bad, the messy bits, just opening your arms to the whole journey?
That's a powerful thought.
Well, today, that's exactly what we're diving into. There's this compelling new study from the University of Michigan that offers a really surprising perspective on mental health, especially for us folks navigating middle age.
And it connects to some surprisingly old ideas, too.
It does. So we're basing this deep dive on a couple of things. A recent health news piece that flagged this research, and, importantly, the actual scientific paper it's based on, published in the Humanistic Psychologist.
Good, solid sources.
Right. So our mission for you today is basically this. Let's unpack this research together. Let's understand the core idea behind it, which is fascinating. See what the study actually found. Think about what it might mean for your life.
Yeah, the practical side.
Exactly. And maybe discover how this ancient concept might actually offer a fresh way to handle the challenges we all face.
And what's really cool here is seeing this centuries-old idea get put under the microscope of modern psychology.
Totally. So the central concept, it's a Latin phrase, amor fati.
Amor fati.
Spelled A-M-O-R-F-A-T-I. And you'd say it. Amor fati.
That's it. Amor fati. It literally translates to love of one's fate.
Love of one's fate. Wow. And this idea comes from Nietzsche, right? The German philosopher, over a century ago.
Exactly. Friedrich Nietzsche.
Yeah.
He really pushed people to think differently about, everything in their lives, including the tough stuff.
Okay, so how does that philosophical idea translate into, psychology today?
Well, that's where Edward Chang at the University of Michigan comes in. He's developed a way to actually measure this concept psychologically. And the key thing to grasp, really important, is that amor fati is not about being passive.
Right, not just shrugging your shoulders.
No, not at all. It's not just saying, I guess this is my life. Chang puts it really clearly in the paper. He says, amor fati isn't about passive acceptance. It's a joyful, deliberate engagement with everything life throws at you, including suffering.
Joyful, deliberate engagement. That hits differently, doesn't it?
It really does.
It's active. It's a choice to embrace it all, warts and all, not just kind of grit your teeth and bear it.
Precisely.
Yeah.
You're choosing to lean in, to see the whole thing as your experience, rather than wishing parts of it away. Nietzsche thought this was key to achieving, human greatness, passionately embracing every joy and every pain.
Seeing it all as essential to your story.
Exactly. Transforming the hardship, integrating it so it contributes to a richer life,
This whole idea feels particularly relevant when we think about midlife specifically. That stretch from, roughly 35 to 60.
Yeah, that window.
It's a time that, maybe surprisingly, doesn't always get the spotlight in research, even though it feels so pivotal for mental well-being.
It absolutely is pivotal. And midlife has its own unique set of psychological stressors, doesn't it? Different from being younger or older.
Like what kind of things?
Well, you often see career stuff, right? Maybe hitting a plateau after that initial climb, leading to questions about meaning or feeling a bit stuck.
Okay.
Then there are those big overlapping demands raising kids who might be teenagers with their own complexities. And at the same time, maybe starting to care more actively for aging parents. That's the whole sandwich generation pressure cooker.
Right. Caught in the middle. Sounds exhausting just thinking about it.
It can be. And add to that, midlife is often when people start experiencing the loss of loved ones more frequently, like parents or older relatives, which brings your own mortality into sharper focus, So all these things together can definitely lead to feeling isolated or maybe even a bit empty if you don't navigate them consciously.
So understanding how something like amor fati fits in here seems really valuable then.
Incredibly valuable.
Chuck?
Which brings us right back to the study led by Edward Chang.
Okay, so the study itself, what were they trying to achieve? What was the goal?
It had a really clear two-part purpose. First, they wanted to just look at the basic connections. How does Amor Fati relate to social connectedness, to loneliness, and to overall mental health in these middle-aged adults?
Just map out the relationships.
Exactly. And second, they wanted to dig a bit deeper. Does feeling socially connected or feeling lonely actually explain the link between Amor Fati and mental health? Are these the mechanisms, basically?
Ah, okay. So how did they go about finding that out? What was the method?
Pretty straightforward, actually. They surveyed 111 American adults, all specifically in that 35 to 60 age range.
Right, the midlife group.
Yep. And it's worth mentioning, most of the participants identified as European American. It's just something to keep in mind when we think about how widely these findings might apply.
Okay, noted. So they filled out surveys. What kind of questions were asked?
They responded to statements designed to measure a few key things.
Yeah.
First, obviously, Amor Fati, how much they felt they joyfully embraced all parts of their life, the good and the bad.
Got it.
Then social connectedness, that feeling of, belonging, being related to other people.
Mm-hmm.
And the opposite, loneliness feelings like being left out, isolated, lacking the companionship they desire.
Okay, Amor Fati, connection, loneliness. Makes sense. How did they measure mental health itself? That seems like it could be tricky.
That's a really important point, and they did it thoughtfully. They measured mental health in two distinct ways, not just as like one single scale from bad to good. They looked at flourishing. Think of that as the presence of positive things, feeling life has meaning, purpose, building strong relationships, that kind of richness.
The good stuff.
Exactly. And then they measured languishing. That's more about the absence of those positive things, feeling a lack of purpose, feeling stuck, sort of like life is a bit hollow or empty.
Ah, so it's not just opposites. You could be maybe not really languishing, but also not quite flourishing.
Precisely. It's a more nuanced picture of well-being.
Okay, so they gathered all this data.
Yeah.
What did they find? This is the really interesting part, right?
It really is. The findings were pretty compelling. First off, the direct links were clear and strong.
Okay.
People who scored higher on Amor Fati, those who embraced their fate more emper, they consistently reported better mental health, specifically more flourishing.
More of the good stuff.
Right. And less languishing, less of that empty feeling. Plus, they also felt more socially connected and less lonely.
Okay, that part makes intuitive sense. If you're embracing life, maybe you're more open to connection, feel less isolated.
Yeah, that initial link feels logical, but then they dug into that connection piece, remember. Does connection explain the link?
Right. Is it because of the connection that Amor Fati helps mental health?
Exactly. And here's where it gets nuanced. For flourishing, that sense of positive well-being, Amor Fati was linked to more flourishing, partly because it seemed to boost social connection and reduce loneliness. Both mattered.
Okay, so feeling connected and not feeling lonely both helped explain the link to flourishing.
Correct. But for languishing that feeling of emptiness, the picture was a little different.
Oh, how so?
Amor Fati was linked to less languishing, again, partly because it fostered greater social connectedness. But, and this is the interesting bit, loneliness didn't play that same explaining role here.
Huh. So, feeling connected helped reduce languishing, but not feeling lonely didn't seem to be the same kind of bridge between Amor Fati and avoiding languishing.
That's what the data suggests. It points to social connectedness being perhaps a more consistent pathway for the mental health benefits of Amor Fati, especially when it comes to reducing that sense of emptiness or lack of purpose.
That's fascinating. Why do you think that difference exists between connection and loneliness? They seem so related.
Well, it highlights that they aren't quite the same thing psychologically, even though they feel like opposites. Connectedness is about the presence of something positive, meaningful bonds. Loneliness is about the absence of something desired companionship.
Ah, okay.
So maybe actively feeling related to others is a stronger shield against languishing than simply not feeling the pain of being left out. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does. It's a subtle but important distinction.
And this leads to what I think is maybe the most powerful finding of the whole study.
Okay.
Even after they statistically accounted for the effects of social connection and loneliness, Amor Fati still had a direct, significant positive effect on flourishing and a direct negative effect on languishing.
Wow. So it's not just about connection.
Exactly. It means that this mindset, this loving your fate, seems to be a powerful, distinct, positive force for mental health in its own right, particularly in midlife. Its benefits go beyond just whether you feel connected or lonely.
So it has its own unique, independent value.
That's what it looks like. It's not just a side effect of having good relationships. It seems to be a fundamental way of approaching life that directly boosts well-being.
Okay, this is This is really practical then. So let's shift gears. What does this all mean for you listening right now, maybe going through some of those midlife challenges we talked about?
Absolutely. Let's talk takeaways. The big one is encouragement to rethink how we frame difficult times.
Like how?
Well, take being alone, for instance. Society often paints it negatively. But with an Amor Fati mindset, maybe solitude isn't loneliness. Maybe it's valuable time for reflection. Both being alone and being with others can be meaningful if you embrace them as part of your life's flow. It's about perspective.
Choosing how you see it.
Choosing how you engage with it. And think about that sandwich generation, stress-juggling kids and aging parents. It's undeniably hard.
Definitely.
But instead of just enduring it, seeing it only as a burden, this study suggests reframing. Edward Chang, the lead researcher, actually says, caring is a choice. And whether it's for your children, your parents, or yourself, these acts of care are deeply connected to personal growth and fulfillment.
Wow. Viewing it not just as a duty, but as meaningful.
Yes, maybe even seeing it as part of a larger human story, something previous generations also navigated. It doesn't make it easy, but it can shift it from being solely a burden to being potentially a source of meaning, of growth.
That completely changes the narrative, doesn't it? Seeing value even in the struggle. It makes you think about how many moments we just try to get through instead of finding something in them.
Exactly. And the study suggests this isn't just wishful thinking. Learning to embrace, truly embrace, the full spectrum, the highs, the lows, the mundane, seems to be key to actually thriving as we age. And not just for young people, specifically for people in midlife.
So it's directly applicable now.
Very much so. And there's even a hint that cultivating this Amor Fati mindset could be useful therapeutically.
Like in counseling.
Potentially, yeah. It resonates with approaches like logotherapy, which is all about finding meaning, or acceptance and commitment therapy, which helps people accept difficult thoughts and feelings and commit to values-driven actions. It's about helping people unconditionally embrace their whole unique life.
That's really hopeful. But, no study is perfect. Did the researchers mention any limitations or areas where more research is needed?
Oh, absolutely. Good science always acknowledges its limits. They pointed out a few things.
Like what?
Well, first, while they focused on social connection and loneliness, explaining the link, they said other things could be involved too, like maybe specific coping strategies people use, or their expectations about life, or even self-compassion. Those could also be part of the puzzle.
Okay, other factors might be at play. What about the people in the study?
Right. As we mentioned, the sample was mostly European American. Amor Fati has shown promise in diverse groups of young adults, but we definitely need more research to be sure these specific findings hold true for middle-aged adults from all racial and cultural backgrounds.
Makes sense. Generalizability is key.
Yep. And also, they looked at flourishing and languishing, which are important, but midlife well-being involves other things too, right?
Like job satisfaction, relationship happiness.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Or satisfaction with parenting, family life. Future studies could look at how Amor Fati connects to those other specific areas.
And does Amor Fati work the same way for a 45-year-old as for a 20-year-old?
That's another open question. Does how you develop or maintain this mindset change as you get older and have different experiences? We don't know yet. That's a really interesting area for future work.
Okay. Any other methodological points?
Just one quick one. They use something called snowball sampling, where participants help recruit others. It's practical, but it can sometimes mean the sample isn't perfectly random. So seeing these findings replicated with different sampling methods would strengthen the conclusions.
Got it. So important caveats, but still a really thought-provoking study.
Definitely. And they also suggested using different methods in the future, like maybe talking to people in depth about their personal mantras or life stories to get a richer understanding of how Amor Fati actually plays out in real lives.
So wrapping this up, this deep dive has really highlighted something pretty profound, I think. The power, the real measurable power of embracing all of it. The good, the bad, the joyful, the challenging.
Yeah.
Especially in midlife, seeing that as a pathway to better mental health, to more thriving. And what really stands out is that Amor Fati seems to have its own unique, direct impact.
It does. It works alongside connection, but it also seems to have its own distinct benefit. It's not just a consequence of having a good social life. It's an approach, a fundamental mindset.
A way of being in the world.
Exactly. And maybe the final thought to leave you with is this. If we connect this to that bigger philosophical picture, what if really truly loving your fate, embracing your whole life story, even the chapters you didn't write or wish were different? What if that's not just about coping better?
What else could it be?
What if it's actually about unlocking a deeper kind of joy? a more profound sense of personal growth, maybe even what Nietzsche called greatness, shifting from feeling like life happens to you to being a willing, even joyful participant in your own unfolding story.
That's a big shift.
It is. So maybe the question to ponder is, what parts of your life right now feel like you're just enduring them, just pushing through? And what might change? What might open up if you experimented even a little with shifting towards Amor Fati, towards that joyful, deliberate engagement with everything?
A really powerful question to carry forward. Thank you for joining us on this deep dive today. We hope exploring Amor Fati offers something valuable for you to think about and maybe even to try out in your own journey.
Thanks for tuning in to the Health Headliner podcast by To Digital. Like and subscribe for more health news and breakthroughs. Stay healthy and informed. See you next time.